Hello and welcome to 11.3 Divide Polynomials, and that is exactly what our swap at is, divide polynomials. But first I want to take us back down memory lane for just a bit to what you learned way back in probably 4th grade, maybe 3rd grade, maybe 2nd grade if you're a little more advanced, but long division, everyone's favorite. So let's go ahead and go through this a little bit, because the same steps that you guys did way back in the day are the same steps that are going to get us through dividing polynomials. So if I'm doing long division, first thing I'm going to do is see how many times does 10 go into, not 9, because it doesn't fit into 9. It's just like 2 it's 2 digit trying to fit into a 1 digit. It's just too small. So I'm going to instead look to see how many times does 10 go into 97. 9 times. You know that part. What did I just do? I just divided. I'm going to summarize right here and say the first thing I need to do is to divide. Okay, after I divide, what would you do next? If you don't remember, I'm going to remind you, I'm going to multiply 9 times 10, which is 90. So the next thing I do, number 2, is to multiply. And then what? Do you remember? Do you remember? Next, I would subtract. Number 3, subtract. And if you're wondering if you really need to write this down, you really need to write this down. So make sure that you're writing these steps right here. So I'm subtracting, and then I get 7. And then, let's make all of our elementary school teachers proud. Next thing I'm going to do is to bring down the 1. Number 4, bring down. Cool. Then what? Well, then I'm going to, number 5, repeat if necessary. So when I say repeat, I mean I'm going to have to divide again. How many times does 10 go into 71? So I'm dividing, and I would get 7. Then multiply, bring down, and everything else. At the end of it, I would have probably, let's say, 4 left over. Old school, when you first learned, you would have said R, so you would have said whatever the number is, and then R4. And then, probably about 5th grade or so, you learned how to write that that remainder as a fraction. So you put 4 over 10. And then, if possible, you could reduce that. Same steps. If that part messed you up in your head, don't worry about it. We got this. Same steps, though, that you've done before. Okay, so just file that for just one moment, and I'm going to teach you basic division first. Super basic. So if I have 21s to the 4th plus 49s cubed minus 35s squared, and I'm going to divide that by negative 7s, I'm basically going to divide each term by negative 7s. And I'm using the fraction bar instead. Why? Because I can reduce this pretty easily. So here's my first fraction, right here, and I'm going to look and see, okay, well, what goes into both of those numbers? 7. 7 actually goes into 21 evenly. How many times does 7 go into 21? 3 times. Is it positive or negative? Well, negative, because a positive divided by a negative is negative. And then s to the 4th divided by s will give me s to the 3rd. Why? Because remember, we subtract the exponent, so this will be 4 minus 1. Also, if I have 4 and I'm going to divide by 1, left over I have 3 s's, so s cubed. And then my next fraction, 49 divided by 7 is 7. Positive divided by negative is also negative. And then s cubed divided by s. So I had 3 and I'm going to take off 1. I'm going to be left with just s squared. And then a negative divided by a negative is a positive. 35 divided by 7 is 5. S squared divided by s is just an s. And that's all. Do me a favor, go ahead and take a moment, press pause, and try the next one. So I'm going to help you out. I'm going to start your fractions, divide by 5y. Divide by 5y. Divide by 5y. Now, if you could, take a moment and reduce each fraction for me. Reduce each fraction for me. Okay, did you do it? If so, this is what we should get. 2y squared plus 4y plus 11, because both of the y's for this one canceled out. Alright, very good. Now, because you are going to have to flip your page back and forth, that's a little bit of an inconvenience. So if you could please instead, probably right around in the margin here, write this down. The steps that we had from the last page. So go ahead, press pause right now, and go ahead and write down these 5 steps right now, please. Did you do it? I hope so, because you need it. It's really, really helpful. Okay, what was my first thing I needed to do? Well, divide. So I'm going to go ahead and set up my long division. 3n minus 1. And that's going to go into 6n squared plus 7n minus 3. My first step is to divide. Now when I'm dividing, I'm going to divide the first terms. So if you want to, you can kind of add a little note. First terms. Well, what are my first terms? Well, it's going to be 6n squared. Just to show myself, 6n squared divided by 3n. Takes you back to what we just did on the other side, no? 6 divided by 3 is 2. N squared divided by n, I just have 1 n left. So this is 2n. Now, the thing is, where do I put that? Well, 2n is not a like term with n squared, but it is a like term with 7n. So I'm going to put it right above there, 2n. My next step is to multiply. So 2n times 3n is 6n squared. Distribute 2n times negative 1, negative 2n. My next step is 2, because I just multiplied. Check. Subtract. Now, when I subtract, beautiful people, remember, we just need to change signs. Change them both. Subtraction is when you add the opposite, so change both signs. Well, what happens? 6n squared minus 6n squared, that's nothing. 7n plus 2n is 9n. I've just subtracted. Next on my list is to bring down. Well, what can I bring down? Minus 3. Cool. I have brought down. My next step is repeat. So I'm going to go back up to the top, and I'm going to divide what? First terms. So this is 9n. That's the first term here. Divided by 3n. That's the first term there. The n's cancel out. 9 divided by 3 is 3. It's a positive 3, so I'm going to put plus 3. And now I'm going to just divide it. I'm going to multiply. So 3 times 3n is 9n. 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. Just multiplied. Great. Next step, subtract. Change signs. So this is 0. Oh, it went in evenly. So this is 2n plus 3. Final answer. How about another one just like the other one? So you have this. If not, go ahead and press pause. It'll take a little bit extra time to write it. But now looking at this one, it's a little bit different. I'm going to keep this here just so we have it. Visual cue. Teaching 101 for you. I might put it on this side though, so I have a little more room. It's a little different. It's missing a term, and this is out of order. So when I set this up, follow me on this. Standard form, remember that? The variable should come first. 2y plus 5. Cool. Next thing, standard form, 4y squared. However, I can't just go from y squared to the constant. I need that y term. I want it to go like something, normally look, ax squared plus bx plus c. That's kind of the standard form. But there's no middle term here. It skips this and goes straight to the constant. Not a good look. I need there to be a y term. So I'm going to add one. 0y minus 5. Old school, 0 placeholder. That's what we're doing right here. This is just creating a 0 placeholder, and we're putting it in order. So it goes y squared, y, and negative 5. Have to do that. Otherwise, when we're doing all this, things won't line up quite the way that I would like for them to. Let's give it a try. First terms, I'm going to divide. Here's our cheat sheet. 4y squared. 4y squared divided by 2y is my first term here. And what do I get? 2y. 2 goes into there 2 times. Y squared divided by y is just y. Where do I put it? Right above the y term. 2y. See, where would I put that if I didn't have that 0 placeholder? I don't know. Next step, after I've divided, is to multiply. So 2y times 2y is 4y squared. 2y times 5 is 10y. Now this is positive. I don't usually write the sign if it's positive because I know that my next step, being subtraction, I'm going to have to go minus, minus. Great. These cancel out. 0 minus 10 is negative 10y. I have just subtracted, and now I'm going to bring down minus 5. Beautiful. Let's divide again. I have negative 10y divided by 2y. So these cancel out. Negative 10 divided by 2 is negative 5. Minus 5. Now let's multiply again. I just brought down, and I put, what did I just do? Just kidding. I just divided, and I put it here, so my next step is to multiply. So negative 5 times 2y is negative 10y. Negative 5 times positive 5 is negative 25. I have just multiplied. My next step, number 3, is to subtract, which means I'm going to change signs. So I get 20. There's nothing left for me to bring down. What do I do? Panic? No. I'm going to write this as a fraction. This is the remainder. It's positive 20 over what? Do you remember? Of course you do. 2y plus 5. You're always going to put it over what you were dividing into in the first place. And I can put a box around it to make it a little bit more official. Cool. I like it. Let's try this one a little bit together. Set you up a little bit. I like this part being c plus 4. And this is not in standard form. Don't fall for it. C squared minus 2c minus 4. Divide first terms. C squared divided by c equals c. You can go ahead and press pause if this is too quick. Let's multiply c squared, multiply 4c. Distributing it to both terms. Next step, after you multiply, divide, subtract. Negative 2c minus 4c is negative 6c. Bring down negative 4. Divide again, Miss Fitzgerald. What am I dividing the first terms? Negative 6c divided by c. c's cancel. Negative 6 minus 6. Let's multiply again. Negative 6 times c, negative 6c. Negative 6 times 4, negative 24. I have just multiplied. Subtract. And I have 20 left over again. We know how to write that. C minus 6, this is a positive 20, so plus 20 over, back to here. C plus 4. I like it. I love long division, just so you know. Eventually you're going to learn about synthetic division. It's even faster. Okay, I want to set you up for this one. But I would like for you to now please press pause. Well, not now. I'm going to put this in standard form. Negative 8m squared plus 0m, because there's not an m term, plus 7. And then what are you doing first? You're dividing. You're not afraid of this negative sign. You're just going to divide negative 8m squared by 2m. That's fine. 2 goes into there, negative 4 times. M squared divided by m is m. So negative 4m. Alright, I started you off, beautiful people. Go ahead and finish this, and then you can check me for your answer. Alright, so finishing up there, after I got that negative 4m, multiplied, and then subtracted, and continued on, I got negative 4m plus 6 minus 11 over 2m plus 3. Take a moment. If you need to, go ahead and press pause and compare your work with my work and make sure everything matches up. Thank you so much, beautiful people, and have a delightful day. That was the bell. Thank you.